PlayStation 3. Obviously, this is where the ball game changes, obviously, because PlayStation 2, as I said, it had the whole baby network play, sort of baby style online play. PlayStation 3 was the beginning of the whole online play conversation because, well, PlayStation 3, they added these features into the home system where you could friends list and the PlayStation Network and the PlayStation Store was added as part of the functionality for PlayStation 3. It was all building towards this idea of social engagement into games and being able to play with your friends on online games now on PlayStation 3. Now, however, though, before we talk more about PS3, I also have to acknowledge the PSP, which was Sony's first ever portable gaming device. This was Sony's first attempt portable gaming, where they would introduce the whole idea of a portable gaming device. Let's just say and I also remember it very clearly because I actually went to the midnight launch of the PSP because I actually pre-ordered the PSP my local game store at the time, and I got to go to the midnight launch, and PSP was like I said, it was their first experiment of portable games. They had this sort of unique, like these small mini disc drives that you could, because obviously because it was a handheld device, they have to make these smaller discs, which were sort of like a new format to be able to play movies on there, because obviously you had to have these certain discs to be able to play movies on PSP, and I managed to get quite a bit of movies with my PSP because of that, because obviously the PSP had a section for games and for movies, and they were able to get port many movies on there, such as Ghostbusters, and quite a bit of movies were ported onto the PSP format, which was really cool. So they managed to get a section of movies on that system, and I managed to pick up some games like Midnight Club. I got my hands on Midnight Club. I think I also got my hands on so I got my hands on Midnight Club. I also got my hands on these many other games that were available because I only picked up a couple, and then I gradually picked up maybe a couple more after the release. But I kind of remember playing Midnight Club racing game a lot because that was kind of fun trying to get to first place so I could progress the game, because you had to be at first place or first, second, or third in order to progress the game. So, and it was also very unique. This is, like I said, it was Sony's experiment at portable gaming, and it was quite a unique experience. And they also had an option for music as well, so you could listen to music on there. And oh yeah, I did also get they were also experimenting with with some of their own first party franchises like Uncharted that made its way onto PSP, and they started to bring like Ratchet and Clank to PSP, and so they brought some of their first party games onto the platform as well. So that was quite a nice couple of years of getting used to the PSP. Back onto the PlayStation 3. Obviously, PlayStation 3, obviously I continued collecting the WWE games, so I don't really need to name all the games because I'm pretty sure you probably are if you've collected WWE games, you're probably familiar with all the games they released it for the PS3. Obviously, because of PS3, they also they did this. They sort of gave us many of the game's graphics were more HD feel because obviously it was the beginning of HD gaming on PlayStation. So obviously GTA 4 obviously took GTA to a little bit to a new level where you could now play it in a more HD format of GTA, which they did a pretty great job on GTA. They allowed you to go inside buildings now, which was they allowed you to go into more to see be able to go into buildings a lot more and be able to engage with the game a bit more than you used to on past GTAs, and I love that concept. And also the fact that GTA 4 was the first GTA to offer an online component. So this was the first time where Rockstar was starting to experiment to build on the whole idea of online GTA experiences, which would eventually evolve into GTA Online. But obviously, it was a very different online experience, GTA 4. But it was the beginning of the whole Rockstar introducing online GTA. But yeah, like I said, there was quite a lot of online games coming into the fray of PlayStation because obviously now you could, be able to add if you had any friends who had PlayStations freeze, you would be able to add them into your friends list and start building your friends list and be able to go on the PlayStation Store to buy games for the PS3 and also be able to download any free games they were offering because there was always games you could try out on the PlayStation 3. You also had the ability to do that because obviously, and then at the same time, this was also a downside to all of this because PlayStation 3 did have the ability to play PlayStation 1 and I think they did have the ability to play PlayStation 1 and 2 games if I recall. Yeah, I think you could still play PlayStation 1 and 2 games on PS3, so they still have the ability to play some of those backwards. I think they did things a little differently with backwards compatibility PS3, but I think you could still technically play backwards compatibility on PS3. But in terms of other games I got on the PS3, obviously I continued playing GTA, but it was also where I began my Call of Duty hype on PlayStation because yes, I remember I saw someone playing because I was in a obviously I remember going to the youth club and that and we were playing zombies and they showed me it was Call of Duty World at War and it was because of that and because I saw the zombies mode, I managed to buy myself Call of Duty World at War and I loved the zombies portion of Call of Duty World at War. I loved it so much that it was because of that and lo and behold, that was a Treyarch game that was being introduced. It was because of that I was so hooked into Call of Duty. I basically picked up basically every Call of Duty that came out, near enough every Call of Duty for the PlayStation 3 era. So Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops. I even pre-ordered my first Call of Duty, being Black Ops 2. I got me a special edition so I could get Nuketown Zombies. So I was able to get my hands on the Nuketown Zombies with the special steelbook with one of the new characters holding the zombie head, which originally a lot of people thought was Samantha, but it turned out to be a completely new character. So there you go. Yeah, Black Ops 2 was kind of like, I'm pretty sure it was the last Call of Duty I picked up on PS3 because obviously by then they were getting ready for PS4 by that. Yeah, but obviously I fell in love with Black Ops 1. I got all yeah, this was also the beginning of Call of Duty introducing DLC packs because yes, downloadable content packs were now a thing on PlayStation. So they had this whole concept where you could download DLC content, like add-on content, through PlayStation Store and buy like season passes and stuff. Yeah, that whole season pass and DLC packs were introduced into the PlayStation Store to really sort of, I guess you could say, for developers, well, game publishers, and to introduce these tiers of content so people could like buy the content that they want to play, etc., and really push that boundary a little bit. So yeah, obviously this was just the beginning of future ideas of monetization that they would eventually get their hands on. And then obviously from there, this eventually led to obviously led to many more season passes for future Call of Duty releases. And the same with all the other online games like WWE 2. WWE's games would eventually become online with the PlayStation being more, now that you could basically play online to be able to play, you could play online to play against your friends on WWE games, which is a thing. Yeah, so that was a thing, and also within this era, they also this was also the era where THQ would lose the rights to WWE games, and eventually 2K would take over to be the new developers behind the WWE games going forward. So they were responsible for where they would basically take control of the WWE games and becoming the standard when it came to, they became the owners of the WWE license for gaming. But yeah, other games I came across on the PlayStation 3, Burnout Paradise. This was the last, but well, pretty much the last Burnout game that EA ever released, which eventually got remastered for the well, eventually got remastered for PS4. But yeah, the PS3 was essentially the last PlayStation era to introduce a brand new Burnout game. They haven't had a new Burnout game since. Crazy to think about that. Also, The Sims would obviously got even more crazier by allowing DLCs for Sims now. That was a thing. PlayStation 3 where you could now buy add-ons for The Sims from EA because obviously Sims was becoming massive because of that. But yeah, in terms of other games, I mean, I may have not played many Sims games anyway, so I'm not going to discuss The Sims because I didn't really play it. But yeah, in terms of other PlayStation 3 games I played, he obviously came across the Little Big Planet series because obviously Stephen Fry was the voiceover for the Little Big Planet games. So I played Little Big Planet 1 and 2, PlayStation 3, because that's where the first two Little Big Planet games were held. So I got to play those, which was amazing. So that was really cool to have that Little Big Planet. The introduction of which was the beginning of the Little Bit Planet the Sackboy franchise coming into the play. Trying to think what else. Oh yeah, obviously Medal of Honor Airborne was another. Yeah, that was pretty much the last time we had a proper Medal of Honor game because obviously everyone was transitioning over to Call of Duty because Call of Duty was massive compared to Medal of Honor, but you get the drill there. I was mostly playing like wrestling games and GTA and Call of Duty, and then I picked up, and then I just tried out a couple of games here and there and checked out many different gaming, different game, maybe some games that were popular than others, or games that I saw trailers of and I was really curious about what they would be like. And so that was really, really cool to be able to play those games for the first time. That was really nice. So yeah, I actually was able to get quite a lot of PlayStation 3 games at the time and be able to obviously experience a lot of, and obviously also on the PlayStation 3 era was also when we had GTA 5 introduced. Yeah, I managed to get the big collector's edition for GTA 5 when it first originally came out on the PlayStation 3, which was the platform it first originally released it. Which was also weird because the PS3 version of GTA, they had these wild animals in the game where if you were to drive into the woods in Los Santos, there could be a chance where you would get attacked by like a bear or a wild animal would come to you and attack you and kill you in the game, and that was a real thing. And I believe that when they released it on PS4, they took away the wild animals because of how crazy they were getting in the PS3 version. So they, because of how dangerous they were, the PS3 versions, they basically decided to just remove them outright on the PS4 version to make sure that well, no characters could get harmed by them, which is yeah, at least I think they made the right call, really, because it did feel like the players killing the animals was animal sort of cruelty type of thing, and they kind of removed it probably for that very reason. So it makes sense why they got rid of it. But yeah, they were very wild and dangerous animals trying to attack your characters if you dare to go in the woods when they're there. It's crazy they would be that dangerous. But anyway, but nevertheless, obviously GTA 5 which was also funny because GTA 5 came out just as Sony were announcing the PlayStation 4, which was obviously 2013 when they finally introduced the PlayStation 4, the DualShock 4, and obviously PS4. They took social to a whole new level. They introduced the ability to view your friends' profiles, make it even easier to socialize with your friends on the console. Basically, treat the home screen as like you being able to follow your friends and see what games your friends have been purchasing and see if there's any games that you from there that you fancy purchasing, so you can play with your friends. And also the fact that they gave us the ability to stream games PlayStation 4. Yes, PlayStation 4 gave us this ability to be able to use the options button to be able to not only take screenshots, but make videos and stream our gameplay with the help of Uplay, Ustream, and even the birth of Twitch. Because yes, Twitch would finally be integrated into the console as well as YouTube, because YouTube and Twitch would eventually make their way into the PlayStation ecosystem so that basically you could now stream your video and basically you could upload your videos to Facebook and then eventually they would introduce Twitter into the mix, but then eventually we would have the ability to stream on Twitch and YouTube because obviously YouTube and Twitch were introducing gaming aspects of their platform. Obviously, Twitch became the gaming format for streaming, and obviously, this would eventually PlayStation players the ability to stream onto the Twitch, and that's how. Which just so happened that when I got my PS4 on my birthday in 2014, so exactly several months after the launch of the roughly a year and a half after the launch of the PS4, I would finally get to upgrade into the PS4, and I obviously got my hands on the first Call of Duty that came out on PS4, which was Call of Duty Ghost. That was the first PlayStation I got my hands on. The first Call of Duty for PS4. Obviously, I didn't buy it for PS3 because I was waiting to get it on PS4. So that Call of Duty game on the PS4, where it was played best, obviously, because obviously it had much better. Because obviously PS4 gaming basically take gaming graphics to a whole new level, where HD gaming is even better than it's ever been. Gaming design just made games look so much better. I mean, you saw in the PS4 era, so many great games came out in that era that, like I said, so Call of Duty Ghost was one of those games. I also got Little Big Planet 3 that also came for the PS. And then also on PS4, I picked up a little bit of WWE. I kind of slowed down getting on WWE games because I kind of just stopped buying them after a little while. But then eventually I picked up my first, I guess you could say I picked up my first FIFA game, even though I wasn't really that crazy in football games, to be fair, because I've really been interested in them. And then obviously I picked up, it was also certain new franchise that kind of debuted around the time when I started streaming with the PS4 would finally debut that year, franchise from a company known as Bungie, where I would find, even though I did come across Bungie on the Xbox side with the Halo series, this was the first time they released on the PlayStation, being the Destiny vibe came into this was where I got introduced to the whole Destiny vibe and how I got into the idea where when I finally played Destiny for the first time. But obviously I'm not a Destiny. Obviously, I'm not playing Destiny anymore. So even though I am mentioning Destiny, I don't play the franchise anymore. But yeah, back then though, I was obviously hyped. Obviously, it got me hooked with the franchise on PS4, so I got to play all the. Yeah, that's enough said about Destiny, obviously, because I want to. Two other games that I also got my hands on the PS4. Obviously, they had Ghost, Advanced Call of Duty, had Ghost, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3. I loved Black Ops 3. I got all the DLC and even Zombies Chronicles for Black Ops 3 because I loved it. Then we also had Infinite Warfare with the remastered Modern Warfare for PS4, which eventually led to World War II, where they would return to boots on the ground. And then eventually, after World War II, we would have the release of Black Ops 4, of course, which eventually led to the return of the Modern Warfare getting a soft reboot. Well, it eventually just led to, obviously, Call of Duty beginning its transition into the PlayStation, obviously the PlayStation 5 era. But yeah, so I managed to pick up basically all the Call of Duties for PS4 that they released because they released a lot of Call of Duties that year, of course, in that time frame of PS4. I also got to Horizon. Obviously, the introduction of Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon was a big new franchise from Guerrilla, which they were responsible for the launch game being Killzone Shadowfall, which it did reasonably well at launch, even though they kind of moved away from Killzone after that game. And eventually they moved on to the Horizon series, which they believe Horizon was a lot more better for them in terms of game design compared to Killzone, even though I still would love to see a new Killzone game. But obviously, Horizon's been doing really well for them. Obviously, we saw The Last of Us make its return with the help of Last of Us Part 2 for the PS4, because yes, they finally did The Last of Us Part 2 following the Last of Us series debuting on PS3, and eventually the second game comes to PS4. And they also brought those previous Last of Us onto PS4 as well, to in preparation of Last of Us Part 2. And we also saw, and then of course the PS4 also saw the return of Crash with the remastered Insane Trilogy, of course. We also got to see Ghost of Tsushima make its debut on the PS4 because obviously they were bringing out lots of blockbuster titles. Days Gone was another blockbuster title for them for Sony. And then obviously the PS4 also introduced some new, some free-to-play games into the world as well. Because yes, there was a lot of hype for free-to-play games to be brought into the mix. Fortnite would eventually make its debut into the PS4 era. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, the PS4 era was kind of how I came across the Fortnite, the world of Fortnite, which would eventually has become what it is today. Obviously, Fortnite was a completely different game when it first came out. It does have its PvP component, but obviously the PvP, the player versus player component, is the part that everyone enjoys when it comes to Fortnite. And then obviously we had some other stuff come out. Obviously the introduction, because of Fortnite, quite a lot of games were introducing battle royale style gameplay into their pro. Battlefield. I also got into, came across Battlefield with the help of Battlefield 4 and obviously Hardline. Battlefield 1 obviously was a big release for Battlefield. A lot of people enjoyed that Battlefield. And then we had, Battlefield 4. But yeah, so yeah, and obviously there was also opportunities to obviously experience the Spider-Man for PS4. They did that as well. They gave us a Spider-Man for PS4. They kind of, but obviously, as we got near the end of the PS4 cycle, they kind of toned down, pushing out lots of cool updates to PS4, and obviously trying to make PS4, trying to make it obviously because obviously PS4 allowed games to receive, to make it easier for games to receive updates and also to so that they could push out updates to gamers, which is, that was the whole revolution with the PS4 and the fact that you could have the ability to change your home screen with these special themes that they were, the theme backgrounds that they were coming up with for PS4. I love that concept. And also the fact you could have notifications so that that a new update would have come out already. Cool things were coming to PlayStation Plus to let you know, hey, or to let you know if your PlayStation Plus expired. They had those notifications in there. They just made it a little bit more easier to use, pretty much. The PS4. That was how the PS4 era played out. So that was the love about. Yeah, I kind of sort of talked about brief of the PS4 games because I had loads of PS4 games. So it's really hard to just name all of them, obviously, because there was a lot of PS. I probably had more PS4 games than I did PS3 games in the end because they were coming out to the PS4 and even the Borderlands series as well. I came across that on the PS4 era. But yeah, and then obviously it has led to where we are today. The fact that they brought back the whole backwards compatibility PS5, because obviously in the PS4 era they didn't let us carry over any PS3 games and stuff. Mind you, PS3's architecture made it very difficult to be able to port games over to be able to allow us to basically insert PS3 discs into PS4 because, well, the only way you could play them is through streaming. Nobody really wanted to stream play their PS3 games anyway, so obviously they had to try and make it easier. Luckily, they have made it slightly easier by allowing you to download PS3 games now with the new PlayStation Plus setup. PS5, of course, they gave us the chance to be able to relive Demon Souls on a PS5 level and just made the game graphics even better. We also how PS5 has made games even more realistic than they've ever been with the PS4 and also because of the fact that they have the whole make it easier to load into games, PS5 games faster, load into PS4 games quicker as well, and obviously to sort of eliminate a little bit of time from downloads. of games and obviously downloading updates, etc. Even though they still got a little bit of work to do on that, but I'm sure they'll find. I mean, obviously, if you insert like internal SSD, minutes it takes to download a PlayStation's going to make you're going to get it to the point where it will take minutes or seconds to get an update out and to load into a game. But yeah, the PS5 obviously has made gaming what it is, made the gaming choices that we have today even better. And the more realistic games that they're introducing with the PS5, and I love what they've done with it. So, I mean, this is where we are today, and I'll be interested like I said, I'll be interested to see future innovations they've got planned for the PlayStation 6 when we get to that. I'll be interested to see what major upgrades are they thinking of for this year for the next console generation being the PS6, considering we've heard about there's going to be a traditional console and a portable device because there's going to be two consoles representing one. I'll be interested to see how they're going to change portal gaming playing together. How is remote play going to change how we play? I'll be interested to see how that's going to work in a new generation format. So I'll be interested to see how it all works. Let me know in the comment section, by the way, if there's any games that you remember playing on the PlayStation, 30 years that you've been a fan of PlayStation. I'm probably going to do a part two, I think, so we can get some friends discussions in here so we can hopefully build like maybe, I don't know, maybe you could treat this like some sort of a podcast or some sort where we're sort of discussing memories of PlayStation games as past and be able to talk about our love for PlayStation and the love of games that I've played on PlayStation, but also what I love about the console. I love the fact that they just continue to come up with to future proof their consoles so you can now like be able to take gaming to a whole new level and to sort of give us tools that will make our gaming experiences even better in the future and also come up with some new ways to take our gaming further, and that's what they did. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you all in my upcoming reaction videos and obviously more discussion videos looking at, and I've got lots more surprises to come when it comes to my 30th anniversary PlayStation content. So make sure to subscribe, and hopefully we can all come together to celebrate our love for PlayStation from the last 30 years.